This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Step up your sweat with the Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus. Swivel your screen 360 degrees and follow your favorite instructors on and off your tread. Track your form and reps with the movement tracking camera. Feel supported as you train on the cushioned slap belt and move to the beat with Sound by Sonos. Elevate your workouts with the Cross Training Tread Plus.
Every rep starts the same. Your limits are real, but so is your potential. New unrestricted power training gear from Lululemon, built with our most powerful fabric. Every push is supported, so you can drive through the hardest presses. Every squat and lift, unrestricted, flexing and stretching for max range of motion. In the gym, you don't know what you're truly capable of, yet. Get into unrestricted power and find out. Now online at lululemon.com.
You know, they now make them this big with like 10 times the capacity,
yeah,
right?
But I have terrible eyes, Your Honor. I have trouble seeing that little stuff, so that's a little bigger.
Actually, it's the size of the screen, and the screen's also the size of the screens.
This is the plaintiff, Kelly Garvin. He says he hired the defendant to repair his vintage first-generation iPod earphone jack. When he went to pick it up, he looked through the window and saw the defendant lying on the couch with a blanket over his head trying to hide from him. Bottom line, the defendant has ruined his iPod, which no longer plays music. He's lost all 1,471 songs on it and is suing the guy for the $2,120 it's going to cost him to get a new iPod and all his music back. This is the defendant, John Silberto. He says he told the plaintiff he'd take a look at his first-generation iPod to see if it could be repaired and would charge him a $100 diagnostic fee. After he discovered the earphone jack and circuit board were damaged, the plaintiff told him forget about repairing it and just transfer off the music to a hard drive. When he tried to do that in the presence of the plaintiff, it didn't work, and that's when the guy flipped out. He's been in the repair business for 25 years, and there are no refunds for diagnostic tests. He's accused of tuning out a customer.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Kelly Garvin.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing John Siliberto?
Yes.
Or how do you pronounce your name?
Siliberto.
Siliberto, doing business as A-Plus Computer Repair for $2,120 for a first-generation iPod. $100 that he charged you for repair and didn't repair it, and $1,471 per song that you say you can't access now, plus gas, and you wanted to buy you a new iPod. All right, tell me, please, how a first-generation iPod loss turned into a $2,120 case.
Well, Your Honor...
Only in America. What happened?
Each iPod song costs $1 to buy online. And the 4th of September, I was looking, my earphone jack was loose on my iPod, so I was looking for somebody to fix it.
What kind of iPod is this?
It's the first-generation iPod.
So it's how old?
I bought it in 2002.
Oh, I need to see this. It's like seeing an 8-track.
That's why it may be worth something someday.
It probably will. Would you look at that? What didn't work about it?
The earphone jack was loose, so I brought it to John. I actually went to Apple Store first.
Right.
And they couldn't fix it, so I brought it to John. I looked online, and I found a couple places, but they're out of town. So what I did was try to look for somebody local. And
right.
The out-of-town person said it was going to be $75 to fix it. The earphone jack itself was about $20.
The earphone jack here is missing.
Right, I have it right here, Your Honor.
Right. So why is it you're trying to desperately save this?
Because I don't have that music backed up, and I don't have any of my music.
Okay. You never backed up 1,471 songs?
Your Honor, I had that in 2002.
How did you get it in here?
on a computer, but it's from a work computer back in 2002 that I worked for a company.
And you were buying you were Napstering? What were you doing?
I used to work for an audiovisual company where we used to use music at the events, and I had to download them and use it during the events.
Well, why would you not have backed up your songs?
Because they weren't mine. They were on my company's computer. They were from my company. I had to buy them through the company, but that was a perk from my company.
Right, but if it's a perk, it's yours. And then why didn't you just
Because, ma'am, I don't have the cable to download it. And there's a FireWire cable that doesn't really match up with any of the new computers. And John had that same problem.
Okay, that begs the question of why in the last 10 years you haven't done it. Okay, that explains why you can't do it now a decade later. My question to you is, how is it that in a decade it didn't occur to you to back up your music?
I have not had that. I found that about a year ago in a bunch of boxes that I had.
This?
Yes, back in a bunch of boxes because I moved from New York to Connecticut. I was looking all over for it, and I finally found it about a year ago. I found it, and I couldn't turn it on, so I had to purchase a...
Interesting things happen when you move from New York to Connecticut.
I had to purchase this online. Okay, it's the actual.
It's all about the 1,400 songs you found on here because they're oldies.
Yes, I had tons of songs on there that I love.
Well, you loved them, but then you stopped loving them because they were stuck in a box that you came upon coincidentally.
No, I actually when I moved.
So was your desperate efforts to save this thing? Was it because you wanted to save this thing, or because you wanted the songs that were on it?
Because I wanted the songs that were on it, and I do like I think someday that thing's going to be worth some money if it was in working condition.
Right now, it's worth about what?
$200 plus the songs.
How much?
Probably that.
You know what a new iPod? You know what? They now make them this big with like 10 times the capacity,
yeah,
right?
But I have terrible eyes, Your Honor. I have trouble seeing that little stuff, so that's a little bigger.
Actually, it's the size of the screen, and the screen's also the size of the screen. So the only difference is it weighs about 12 pounds less.
You're right.
All right, so you want to access this.
Yes.
So you go through him. You find him in the... How do you find him?
It was working all along, and then the phone jack started getting loose.
I'm sorry. If it's working all along, why don't you just back up the song?
Because I didn't have the cable, Your Honor.
Why don't you just buy the cable, which is cheaper than the $100 you paid him to, quote, fix it? So what did you pay him $100 to do?
I paid him $100 to actually get the new phone jack and put it in. Okay. He's calling it a diagnostic fee. Did you ever ask him for the cable in order to back up the song? I did ask him for that, and he said he would build me one. He said he would build me the cable.
Okay, but that business was never... You never paid for that, and that's not...
No.
Okay. So all you hired him to do for $100 was to get the phone jack stabilized.
Put a new phone jack in it, yes.
A new phone jack in. All right. So according to you, he hires you to do what?
To fix a broken headphone jack that he said he had to hold it in a certain position to get it to play through one ear. And, I seen it. It was definitely loose, definitely broken on one side. So I unsoldered that jack, which he has in the bag. And I ordered another jack, which I have. I gave you the evidence, which is right here.
Go on.
When I got the first jack in, the jack wasn't the right jack that I had ordered. I explained it to him, that it wasn't the right type of jack, that I would have to order the other, the right jack or try to get the right jack. The jack came in a few weeks later. When I tried to put the jack on, I soldered it. And when I plugged in the headphones, I couldn't hear anything that came out of it. If you see on that paperwork that's right on the PDA Smart website, it says that some broken headphone jacks, there's actually damage to the circuit board where the pads that it solders onto.
Blah, 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 blah. Let me ask you a question.
Anyway,
what did the guy hire you to do? Fix his iPod, right?
He wanted me to fix the iPod. Then when I told him that I couldn't repair it because it was damaged to the circuit board, he says, can you at least get my music off? I told him I could.
Okay.
I tried getting the music off. He dropped off the wire to me. He left it inside the door, as he said.
What wire?
Cable that he got, the FireWire cable. I tried doing this. The device would show up in my computer, the iPod. I seen the folder with the music. I dragged the folder over onto the thumb drive. It started copying. The folder started to move. About 10-15 seconds into the copy process, the iPod reset. It just turned off, and then it turned back on. So the copy process could never complete.
How many times did you try?
I tried it a few times, right in front of him.
I don't understand, though. Why am I here? Why wouldn't you just return the guy's $100 then?
A diagnostic fee is a diagnostic fee.
A diagnostic fee is to tell him what's wrong with it. In your testimony, you're testifying that $100 is what you were going to get paid to fix it. You weren't going to get paid another $100 to fix it after that. There was no additional money that was going to come to you for fixing it.
He told me when he wanted to get this thing, he even told me, he says he doesn't care the amount it would take to fix it. He just wanted to get it fixed. So the part would have been additional, and I would have kept the labor at $100.
Except for that, wait a second. You never charged him anything additional to the 100.
No, I didn't.
And you never told him you were going to charge him anything additional to the 100.
Yes, I did tell him.
Really? What did you tell him you were going to charge him more?
Not once.
The price of the jack.
So so I should see an email where you email him and tell him, by the way, the price of the jack was X, right?
Because I couldn't repair the thing when I put the jack on.
Doesn't matter. You already ordered the part, so you already know.
I couldn't charge him if I couldn't repair the thing.
Oh, you can't charge him if you couldn't repair the thing. Well, that works. He just wanted his $100 back. If you can't charge him if you can't repair the thing, then why wouldn't you just give him his $100 back? You go looking for him, and according to you, he's evading you, right?
Totally.
And what evidence do you have of him evading you?
Okay, on the 8th, I called him to see if it was done, and he said, no, it wasn't done, but he'll drive it by my house that evening, and this was a Sunday night. I call him Monday, nothing. I call him Tuesday, nothing. I call him Wednesday, nothing. So Wednesday, I go up to his house, and I see a shadow in there. I'm knocking on the door. No one's answering. And on the side of his house is where his office is. And it's just a paved driveway. It still goes around the side. So I wasn't like lurking.
So you trespassed and went into his window?
No, I wasn't trespassing, Your Honor. It's just right it's still in part of the driveway.
Whose driveway?
His driveway.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I see him laying on the couch. So I knock on the window, and he has the cover pulled up over his head. And I thought something was wrong with him. So I wrote on the card, John, are you okay? And I'm stuck in his door.
Wait. So you're knocking on the window. He's 5 feet from you, and he doesn't get up?
He wouldn't get up.
Okay.
So
do you think he was hiding under the cover?
I know he was hiding under the cover.
Okay.
So then I knew something was wrong. I wasn't going to call the cops, so I wrote on my business card, John, give me a call. I hope everything's okay, because I thought maybe something was wrong with him. So then finally, I do get a chance to talk to him. He finally comes out. This is a couple days later, probably 3 or 4 days later, and he says his medication was messed up. And I said, what? And I said, why are you giving me the runaround? He said, Kelly, why don't you just punch me in the face? I'm like, what? He goes, if somebody treated me the way I'm treating you, I would punch them in the face. I said, are you kidding me? I'm not going to jail over an iPod.
Did you say that to him?
Well, because it looked like he wanted to. Yeah, I did. It looked like he wanted to. He was angry.
Of course I was angry.
His fist
No.
And so you said to him, go ahead and punch me in the face? If somebody treated me like I'm treating you, I would punch them in the face? You said that?
Yeah.
Exactly what he said.
Is that what you said?
Yes, I did.
So what's the net of all this? Like, what is your opinion that you cannot get the 1,500 songs off of
If I had the $100 that day in my pocket, Your Honor, I would have gave it to him and I would have said, have a nice day. I swear to holy God.
Right.
I would have gave it to him, but I didn't have the money. He says, if you didn't pay me, I'm going to take you to court and I'm going to sue you for a lot more. I said, sue me for as much as you could get.
Okay.
And that's it. And he left and he did.
Okay. Well, no wonder he did. You invited him to.
Your Honor.
Come on. He said he was going to sue me.
Okay, here's the thing. Let's discuss a couple of things, okay? You are suing him for $1,471, $1 per song, because according to you, it can be salvaged, and he didn't. But you didn't hire him to salvage it. You hired him to fix the phone jack.
Yes.
So why wouldn't your lawsuit just be $100 to fix the phone jack, plus your filing fee?
All of those songs are unsalvageable now because this is broken off the motherboard. Okay? He says that it was broken off before. It wasn't, because I could actually listen to the music still.
They're not unsalvageable. They're still on the hard drive inside that unit. All your music is still on the hard drive inside that unit. If you took that hard drive, if you took the hard drive,
don't talk to each other. Talk to me.
If you took the hard drive out of that unit and placed it into another unit that you could buy, maybe find it somewhere on the internet.
How are you going to find it? You mean what? Another first generation?
Somebody maybe on Craigslist might have it for sale or something like that. If you took the hard drive out and you placed it into another first generation,
so you could take the hard drive.
All his music is still on there.
Let's find out. So you're saying that the hard drive from here
can be taken out and put into another unit.
For example, this person's selling a first generation iPod. No, that's not even. That's the shuffle.
They're going to be worth something someday, Your Honor.
They were saying it is
maybe worth something someday. So will your hard-earned cash.
The first generation.
Court's in recess.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, can the plaintiff sue for losing the 1,500 songs on the iPod?
No, that's his responsibility. He's got
to back it up?
Yeah, he has to do that before he gets it repaired.
Even if the defendant lost it during the repair?
Yeah, I think he should have saved it and backed it up to secure it.
Anybody think that the defendant should have to pay for the songs? Anybody think the defendant should have to pay?
No. Well, a little common sense goes a long way.
About backing it up?
Yes.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You know, none of these buttons work. So I did a little internet research. I mean, there is a hard drive in here. And instead of trying to fix a phone jack, what you need to do, I mean, you might want to fix a phone jack anyway because this is a novelty for you, but to suggest in here that you have proof that he owes you $1,500 because the songs are unreachable, you would need to have proof that he did something that made these unreachable. Where is your proof? You have an expert opinion from someone that something he did makes this now, or you're just going to say over and over again, well, no, it doesn't work. No. Tell me what proof you have.
I don't, Your Honor.
That you don't. And that's why you're not getting $1,500 for the songs in here. The songs are still in here, okay? And apparently, you could flip this open right now, and you could get the hard drive out of here.
Yes,
the problem is you got to find this somewhere to be able to put it into, and maybe that's where you've had your difficulty. Now, you want him to pay you $400 in gas mileage and phone time dealing with iPod issues, 4 hours at $100 per hour. Where do you come with that figure?
His diagnostic fee was $100, and I drove to his house probably 7 or 8 times trying to get this back.
Whose fault is that? And then you want him to pay $149 the cost of a new iPod.
If I can't
get everything in there but the kitchen sink. And then you want, a kitchen sink. Okay.
It's in there.
Yeah. All right, here's what's going to happen, folks. I agree with you that this is more than a diagnostic and that he was supposed, in fact, you have a phone message that he leaves telling you that the iPod's ready.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I do.
The iPod is ready. It's over here. Okay, thank you.
What did that mean?
You know what? It was my mistake, okay? But I did call him back and I told him it wasn't ready.
You know, normally I say don't quit your day job, but you need to quit your day job.
It was my mistake.
Your Honor, that was on the 1st, actually. That was 2 weeks after.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. I don't have your patience. Okay, so here's what I'm going to order. Because you have no evidence that he cost you $1,500 worth of songs that you are A, able to retrieve, or B, now unable to retrieve because of him, I am handing that iPad back to you. I honestly think that it's in the hard drive there. I don't think you're going to have a problem. But he didn't fix your
earphone jack.
So he doesn't deserve to be able to keep it and then say, oh, that was just for trying because I've spent so many hours, which is the song and dance he gave you when he was trying to keep the money. So I'm going to order him to pay the $100. I'm also ordering him to pay prejudgment interest on that $100 since the time that you paid it to him. And I'm going to order him to pay your court costs. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Both sides, hold on, please.
Here he is, John the computer guy.
How are you, sir?
How you doing?
Good.
How'd that go?
How did it go?
Yeah.
It's a diagnostic fee. You know, you don't take your car to the auto repair shop and ask the mechanic what's wrong with it. And then after he tells you, you go there to pick up your car. You don't ask him for the $100 back. I think the judge made a wrong decision. It was a diagnostic fee for $100. I spent over 6 hours. She was wrong.
Okay. All right. Right around the corner this way. All right. It's understandable how he feels. What about you?
Oh, he just gave me the biggest runaround of life ever had in my life. But, you know.
Well, you sued for $2,000 some odd for her, and you want $100. Is that good?
That's fine. I don't care. As long as, you know, people know that this guy's not a good businessman and no one goes and uses
So what are you going to do about all this music now?
Try to get it fixed.
Get another first-generation iPod?
It'll cost $75 for me to send it away to get fixed.
What do I care?
Exactly.
Harvey?
Okay, you know, the bottom line here is that repair shops don't guarantee a job. What they promise is that they will use professionalism in trying to solve the problem. But if they do their job and something gets lost, that does not mean that they're responsible. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Introducing Shark Facial Pro Glow, a first-of-its-kind at-home facial. Pro-level extraction removes impurities, and dual-temperature technology boosts radiance and deep puffs with both Insta-Heat and Insta-Chill technology. Treat yourself to a hydro-fueled glow in minutes. And because Shark Facial Pro Glow fits in the palm of your hand, you can get that luminous post-spa glow anywhere. Visit sharkbeauty.com to learn more.
When you want your spring break to feel like... and your kids' pool day to feel like... and your hotel bed to feel like... ooh, and room service to feel like... because at Hilton, hospitality feels like...
Your cabana's ready. Would you like fresh towels?
It matters where you stay. Book now at Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.
This is the plaintiff, Whittling Million. She says she and the defendant were very close friends, and she thought she could trust her. Boy, was she wrong. She ended up giving the defendant money to purchase a car for her. She botched the deal, and the defendant's totally responsible for getting her the $2,500 she gave her returned. This is the defendant, Marva Lee Washington. She says she knew a guy who was going to an auction to buy the plaintiff a car with the money she gave him. Unfortunately, the guy stole the plaintiff's money, took off, and basically scammed her. The plaintiff never gave her the money. She didn't see it, feel it, or touch it, and has nothing to do with this bad situation the plaintiff finds herself in. She's accused of fouling up a friendship.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. These litigants were close friends until the plaintiff gave the defendant's guy money to buy a car and says the defendant screwed up the deal. The defendant says she acted in good faith and the guy she was dealing with was a crook. It's the case of we have transmission, but we don't have a car.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Whittaline Millian.
Yes.
You are suing Marva Lee Washington?
Yes.
For $2,500, $2,000 of it money that you say you gave to her to purchase a car and $500 of it interest. I'm not sure how you calculate that. Tell me what's going on.
Well, as in the beginning of April, towards like the end, we was talking, I had plans to buy a car, and she was like, oh, she know this guy that she was living with named Richie. He usually goes to car action, so I trust her. I was like, okay. And then within, like, if you go through the text messages.
No. The text messages are at the end. I want to know the beginning. I want to know the whole story. So she tells you, I'm living with a guy named Richie.
Yeah.
And how long had you been with Richie?
I was not living with Richie.
You weren't?
No.
Okay, were you dating him?
No. He was just a mutual friend.
Okay, with benefits or
no?
Was he a boyfriend? He was not.
No,
okay.
not with benefits.
So he was a. What do you mean by mutual friend?
I met him.
Stop a second. Did she know him at that point?
No, she didn't.
Okay, that's not a mutual friend. All right.
Okay.
So then, it was a friend of yours, who you were not dating, who would go to auctions.
Right.
Who you had known for how long?
I want to say 9 months.
Okay. Had you ever been on a date with him?
No.
Okay. So did you tell her that you had been on a date with him?
No.
All right. So you tell her you know a guy. And then, had he ever bought a car for you at auction?
No.
All right, so you tell her that, and then you say, okay, and what? Do you ever go to the auction? How does this work?
Well, from my standpoint, the guy was living with her. We was talking.
Why did you get that standpoint? Because according to you,
from what I know, because
did she tell you that, or did you surmise?
No, I actually went to the house. Usually when I'm at the house, he's there. He sleeps there as far as I see with my own 2 eyes.
Did you see him sleep there?
Well, he's always there as far as I'm concerned. Whenever I go over there, before this whole situation, he's there. His stuff is there in her room. So basically, he's living there. And as far as what she told me, he was staying there.
Okay, and he's with her.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's none of my business if they're together.
Aren't you two friends, though? Don't you, know who the other one's dating?
Well, what she told me, they wasn't together. But as far as I know, they were messing around. That's what she told me personally.
Okay, so go on.
Okay, so we spoke about the situation. She was like, oh, he usually goes to the car auction. He can get you a really good car. And I was like, I only have $2,000 to spend. That's all I want to spend. So coming May 4th, she texted me, was like, oh, he's going to a car auction. Can you give me the money? I wasn't home. So Friday morning, I went to the bank. I called her. I was like, you're not home. She went to work that morning. So he was at the house. I went to the bank, got the money, and gave it personally to him. But the whole entire time, I was on the phone with her. She was like, you can go to the house. He's at the house. No problem.
You gave the money to him?
I gave it to him, but I was on the phone with her.
I understand you're on the phone with her and you're desperately trying to, because you're not suing him, because you can't find him.
I understand that.
Right, so I know that you need to pin it on her, but now I want you to tell me the factual situation surrounding this. You know it's Richie who's going to the auction.
Yes.
You hand the $2,000 to Richie.
Yes.
You've met Richie numerous times.
Actually, I only met him like twice. I haven't met him.
And you hand the guy $2 million.
Well, I did it.
And you hand the guy two. It's a good thing it wasn't $2 million.
I did it on trust. That's
okay,
why
you did it on trust. Yeah, we have a name for people like that. We call them litigants. But okay, so you hand him the $2,000 to him, not to her. Even though in your complaint you say you handed it to her, that is not true. You handed it to him. Okay. All right. I guess you've seen the text that she provided into evidence where it says, I just gave it to him.
I gave it to her.
So now you know you can't say you handed it to her.
I never said I didn't give it to her.
All right, so now you hand it to him. And then, do you go with him to the auction?
No, I was not present.
Does he buy a car in the auction for her?
Okay, he told me that he got the car because my previous phone that got stolen, he sent me a picture to send to her that he bought the car.
And you got that picture, right? Because I have that in evidence. All right.
However, I was not present when she gave him money.
I know that. Stop arguing law and talk to me about facts, okay? So, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Did he tell you, oh, babe, I bought the car?
No.
Okay. Did he say, I bought the car?
No.
Okay. So, how did you know he bought the car?
I don't know.
Well, why did you say he sent me a picture? He must have said something. If
He sent me the picture to send to her.
Saying what?
He didn't say that I bought the car. He just sent me a picture, send it to her. That's
what did he say in that text?
He didn't say anything. He just sent me the picture.
What did you think he meant by sending you a picture?
I'm assuming that he got the car, but he did not say I got the car. He just sent the picture.
So when you talk to him next, what does he say?
I did not talk to him after that, saying
Ever again?
No. I did talk to him, but he did not say, oh, I got the car, I got the car.
To stop mincing words with me and tell me what the guy told you. Where is he?
I don't know.
Okay, what did the guy tell you afterwards?
He said that he would drive the car down for her because she didn't have her license.
Well, that sure as heck sounds like he got the car for her.
Okay.
Okay, what car was he gonna drive down? A car he didn't get for her? Okay, go on.
And, you know, he told me to call her and ask her when would she be available at home to get the car. So I did that, and after that, you know, I didn't hear anything from him again.
No, after that, what happened?
After that, I didn't hear anything from him again.
Did she give you a time that she was available?
Well, she said that she was gonna be home and I could drive down with him in the car to give it to her.
Okay.
But as far as him driving down, after that, I did not hear from him, see him, nothing.
Is his stuff still in your apartment?
No, his stuff was never at my apartment. She saw him because I had to introduce them. So when she came there and saw him was the day when she met him. He was never there.
She claims he was always there.
That's what she's saying, but he wasn't.
And then she said he was always there, then she said I met him twice beforehand. So I don't know what always is.
I don't know why she's saying that, but she met him when she came over so I could introduce them. So
was there a second time that she saw him at the apartment or no?
No. Unless when she gave him the money.
So what efforts did you make after this debacle? This all comes to a head when, in May?
I don't remember the actual month, but it was sometime in spring semester of when we were going to school.
Okay, and so now it's about May when I see the text starting to turn bad, and you can't find him ever again?
No. I tried contacting him, the number that I had for him, and it was disconnected. I honestly don't know where this guy is. I don't know where his whereabouts is, nothing.
I'm not stupid. I understand why you're not suing him because you can't find him. But what is your legal theory on why she is responsible to pay you? Because she told you about a hookup?
Yeah,
she introduced you to him?
So if the guy steals the car, can the plaintiff sue the person who introduced her to the guy?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because.
Because what?
That part I don't know, but the judge is hot.
Okay, I like your analysis. What do you think?
Don't you think we need to have a written agreement for me to buy something, especially?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get your point, but this is not so much about a written agreement. It's really about, is this guy is the defendant responsible for some guy he introduces the plaintiff to? What do you think?
He can't sue because maybe he didn't know the guy, what he was going to do to take.
That he didn't know the guy was a crook.
Yeah.
Fair enough, going inside the courtroom.
Well, I trusted her. I gave it to her when I was talking to her about the situation. I didn't ask her for help. She was like, okay, I know this guy, he's gonna give you a good
if I tell you about a great restaurant and your meal stinks, I have to pay you back for it?
No.
Right. You gave him the money, you didn't give it to her. Let me explain to you how the law works. Two things are going on here. Number one, she is an agent. She is not the principal you're doing business with. She is an agent for a disclosed entity, to wit, a guy named Richie. You don't even know Richie's last name. You don't know Richie's address. You don't know the first thing about Richie, but you were willing to do business with Richie because you knew it was Richie who was going to the auction. You knew it was Richie who'd have your $2,000. Even if you gave it to her, I think you'd still be losing here because you knew she wasn't going to the auction. You knew she wasn't buying. You knew she was just handing it over to that she was just a disclosed agent for free as a friend to the Richie guy. So you would always be out of gas. But on top of that, in this case, after you file your complaint claiming you gave her the money, you gave the money to Richie. So it's really not even debatable because she's not the person who took your money. She's just somebody who was trying to do a favor, which will teach you in the future not to get involved. If you don't know the guy, how to find the guy after something like this, you shouldn't be getting your good friend from high school involved with the guy. What is wrong with you people? Nobody says, show me your license to Richie? Where's he go? Does he go to school?
No.
Does he work?
Well,
Going to car auctions. Apart from that.
Okay, so you barely know the guy. It's a total fly-by-night operation. And both of you are sitting there trusting the guy, more you than her, because, well, I don't know what you were trusting him with, but you trusted him with $2,000, which is the subject of the lawsuit. So the whole thing is so... Let this be a $2,000 lesson to everybody involved. Your deal is with Richie. When you find Richie, bring me that case. Verdict for the defendant.
All right, lady, full on.
So the plaintiff is suing the wrong person and comes out with nothing here in court. Step over here. What's going through your mind here?
Nothing at all.
Why'd you trust Richie?
Well, I did it on base her instance because, as you know, she was my best friend. I trusted her. I didn't know he would do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Let's assume Richie might be watching right now. What do you want to say to him? Keep it, yeah.
Well, he's a con artist. He's a liar. I have nothing else to say to him, and I don't have nothing to say to her.
All right. Yeah. All right, so step on in here, and you win your case, but you have feelings for what happened to her?
I'm just glad this is over, basically. You know.
What about losing an old friend over it?
I don't consider her as a friend because a friend would never do something like this to somebody.
What did she do?
She brought me to court, had me go through this whole process when she know that she didn't give me any money at all. So, yeah.
You don't know where Richie is?
No, I don't know.
Harvey?
Well, here's the thing. You can turn somebody into an agent if you make it clear that they are responsible for what the third party does. But for that, I'm telling you, you got to get that in writing. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
You've been there, settling in for an evening of TV only to waste half the night scrolling. Enter Fire TV, entertainment with zero effort required. Fire TV serves up personalized recommendations from across all your apps. Not sure what to watch? Just tell Alexa Plus what you're in the mood for and she'll pull up the perfect recommendation. Problem solved. Stop the scroll, start the show. Find what you're looking for with Fire TV. Subscriptions may be required.
This is the plaintiff, Nicholas Lombardi. He says the defendant, his next-door neighbor, had a flood and it leaked into his rental apartment and damaged the floors. At first he said he'd pay, but a few days later he changed his mind and said it wasn't his responsibility. Now, there's mold developing. The defendant owes him big time, and he's suing for the $930 it's going to cost him to make the necessary repairs. This is the defendant, Borislav Lembersky. He says the plaintiff thinks he caused water damage to his rental apartment, but he searched high and low and has found no leaks in this house. From his 9 years of living in his house, he hasn't had a problem once with regards to water, and owes the plaintiff nada. He's accused of having water everywhere.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. These litigants are next-door neighbors. The plaintiff says the defendant had a flood that damaged his floors, but the defendant says there were no leaks. It's the case of H2O no.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Nicholas Lombardi?
Yes.
You are suing Borislav Lembersky? Correct?
Yes, correct.
For $930 that you say you spent trying to fix water damage in a building that you own, that you rent out.
Yes.
And you say that it was due to a flood in his building.
Yes.
Okay. Now, he owns a building next to you. Are they connected?
Connected, yes.
They're connected. What happened?
I received a phone call from my tenant, and she said she was being flooded. So I said to her, I says, well, where is it coming from, you know? Check the valves, turn off the hot water tank, wherever it's leaking, you know? And she says it's not coming from none of the pipes or anything like that. Luckily, I was about 10 minutes away, maybe 15 minutes away, doing some repairs from Hurricane Sandy. So I hurried up there, and when I got there, I seen there was water in her bedroom, bathroom, part of the hall, and the utility closet.
Are we talking about inches of water?
Yes. I don't know if you would measure it in inches, but it seemed quite a bit.
Okay.
And I didn't hear any water, which was strange. You know, I'm mechanically inclined. I've been that way for a long time. And in fact, I just replaced the hot water heater 6 months ago. So that was my first thought. So I checked the hot water heater. I'm checking all the pipes, everything. I don't hear water, but yet water is coming in the building.
So after looking at everything and analyzing and couldn't figure out where it came from.
Did you check the water meter to see if water was leaking from one of your pipes? Do you ever, wouldn't that be something you would do, check the water meter? Wait, you turn off the water and check the water meter to see if it's still running?
Yes, that would be something you would do if water was coming in the house. But my next step was to go upstairs because there's an upstairs apartment right above it, and the utility rooms are one above the other. So I'm figuring something happened up there.
Right.
So I went up there, and sure enough, there was no water up there. Everything was dry. So that's when my tenant decided to go next door, and she spoke to her neighbor who's upstairs next door, and she was frustrated because there was water in her living room area, dining room area where her utility room is.
Oh, so she goes over to his building but goes upstairs?
Upstairs,
not
right.
on the first floor?
Not the first floor.
He lives on the first floor?
Yes, well, it's not actually a first floor. It's like a basement apartment. There's 4 steps going down.
Okay, so she goes to the upstairs is actually the first floor then?
Yes, I guess you would consider that, but it's a legal two-family home.
She goes to the upstairs, and what happened?
And she found out from her neighbor, Danielle Capone, that she was very frustrated. There was water on her floor and everything, and she didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So then the next step, she tells me, which I have an affidavit from her.
Yeah, I saw the affidavit that she submitted.
That she went downstairs. And
why isn't she here today, by the way?
She has a 5-year-old.
Okay.
And also she lost a boyfriend, a fiance actually, from about 6 months ago. So she's been very upset since.
Okay.
And she's barely taking care of the 5-6-year-old.
Right.
And she does work also. But
so then she goes to his apartment.
She goes to his apartment, and she realizes that he had water coming down his ceiling. And I didn't see it myself personally. That's why I got the affidavit. And she said she spoke to him, says that he had to go to work. He couldn't be bothered with it, you know.
Okay, what's going on?
Actually, I heard, yes, she had the water in her basement, but I checked, I had no water in my basement, and I went upstairs.
Hold on, who had the water in their basement?
His tenant.
And so, how did you hear she had water in her room?
Because she knocked on my door to find out what's going on. I let her in. She says, I have water. I'm like, maybe it's water coming from you. Check upstairs.
Okay, she says that you had water in your apartment.
I didn't have water in my apartment.
She's a liar.
Yes.
And she says that your tenant, Danielle Capone, had water in her apartment.
We went together and checked, and we didn't have to check where the water coming from. We didn't see it. I asked my tenant.
Did Danielle have water in her apartment?
No. I went personally myself to see, and I didn't find no water.
No. When did you go personally yourself to see?
As soon as Jennifer knocked on my door. We went together.
So you went together upstairs,
yes.
and
yes.
Danielle, according to you, Danielle opens the door and says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any water.
No, she let us in. We checked everything. We didn't find water. So that was strange.
Wow, Jennifer has a very different story about what happened.
Yes, I know. But I'm going according to what my tenant gave me.
What did your tenant give you? Did you bring your tenant here today?
I was there myself. I asked her to come along.
You told my court staff you were going to bring your tenant here today. Where is she?
Well, actually, I told your staff that I'm going to try to bring her in, and she said I can't do it. She can't come in today. So.
You have her number?
I need to turn my cell phone on.
Turn your cell phone on.
Sure.
Do you have an affidavit from your tenant?
She said she's supposed to send it to me on my email, but I checked my email. She didn't send it to me. I have a phone number if anybody want to call her.
Hand it over.
So the defendant doesn't bring the key witness to court. Is the defendant out of luck?
Totally out of luck. You don't bring the person that's the most important witness, you're out of luck.
You lose.
You lose.
Going inside the courtroom.
Now, did you ever have a conversation with him?
I approached him, and I said that I would be to go through his insurance company if he would give me the name. He said he didn't. He said he had something with his roof. They were coming anyhow. And I says, look,
Wait, but did you talk to him about the actual events?
Yes, and I said to him, I says, look, no, well, he knew, he admitted, he came in, he looked, I showed him.
Wait, talk to me about that. I want to hear that.
Yeah, well, we did. He came in, he looked.
At the time of the discoveries?
No, this was a couple of days later because the water was still
But I thought you said you were 10 minutes away, so didn't you just talk to him then?
That day, no. We showed him everything, and I tried to make an agreement with him where maybe we didn't have to go through the insurance company. If he paid for the materials, I would do the repair myself. And he said he would let me know. And I texted him, called him a few times. He never got back to me. And that was the end of that.
I don't normally do this, but I'm fascinated by it. So he talks to you that whole time like, yeah, I'm covering this. I'll put it through my insurance company, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
She doesn't pick it up?
Nah, she doesn't pick it up.
She's in school right now. So.
Well, at least he brought me an affidavit. So according to you, a couple of days later, he comes over and does what?
Well, we talked about it, and I also agreed with him. I wanted to do the repair myself if he would just pay for the materials, because I understand as a landlord, you know, you don't look for these things to happen. And I was, but then he never got back to me, never called me. I texted him, I called him. So my tenant was more frustrated, of course, because she's living with this water under. It was like a pergo floor, you know, a laminate floor. So
now it's starting to bubble.
And it's starting to bubble.
And she has a kid,
and she's telling me. And of course, the mold is a big thing going on today because of the storm we had. So it's being publicized. So I just went ahead and did the work myself. I had my floor guy come in there. I moved the furniture because she's a single parent, and we took care of the problem.
All right, and then so you are asking for what you paid your floor guy, which is the
$830
and $30, and you want an extra $100 for what?
Well, I figured
time spent dealing with it.
Well, I had to pay for the for court fee to get this to court, and gas and time. And
okay, Mr. Lemberski, I now have the owner of that building also saying that you told him you would put it through your insurance.
Well, they convinced me it was my fault, but I...
How did they convince you it's your fault that there's no water in your basement or in your tenant's apartment? How did they convince you that something that happened...
They were calling me.
I'm not done. Oh. How did they convince you that it's your fault that there's water in an adjacent building when there's no water in yours? You're very suggestible.
Well,
maybe you're just a liar, and there was water in yours, or there was water in your tenants.
Like I said, I went upstairs to check together with Jennifer.
Yeah, but I'm finding it unbelievable that the veracity of that statement, the truthfulness of that statement. Like I said, I went up there was no water. I'm finding it hard to believe if you have allowed them to convince you that it's your fault and that you should put it through your insurance. Now it's starting to sound like he's right, that there in fact was water in your tenant's apartment. That and the fact that you didn't bring your tenant to testify today, nor bring an affidavit from your tenant, because maybe your tenant refuses to perjure herself.
I don't know. She was telling me that she doesn't have water, everything is running well.
That's not what his tenant says.
I know, but this is what my tenant is saying.
In fact, his tenant says there's water in yours.
I'm just going whatever my tenant told me, so I have no control.
Either that or you're lying to me. So I'm going to order you to pay the $830 that he paid to fix the floor plus his court costs. That's my verdict.
And so the defendant loses his case and comes in here and says, well, what's your reaction coming out after what
I'm surprised, you know, the judge awarded the case because there was a little bit of damage anyway.
How can somebody suggest to you that you did it and then finally you start to believe him?
Yeah, they were calling me nonstop, and I asked my tenant what's happening. She says, I don't know where the water came from, and I didn't have water in my place.
So why don't you just why'd you go over and even look at the damage if you were sure that it was not coming from you?
To be honest with you, I was surprised. I wanted to see. They wanted money from me, and why they wanted so much money? For a little piece of wood coming out, you know, it's absurd.
Now they got it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, head right down there. All right, come on in here. Tell me what's your feeling on the outcome in this case here, sir. Come on in.
Well, justice prevailed.
You think so?
Yes, of course. You know,
he insists that you didn't do it. He says he only admits it because you convinced him.
Well, the only thing I'm sorry is I didn't get a statement from Mrs. Capone next door. And if this would have went the other way, I would have approached her and tried to get a statement from her.
All right. Harvey?
You know, I don't know how to say it better than her. I mean, if you don't bring the key witness to court or at least get a sworn affidavit from that key person, you are going to lose that case.